The room was filled with soft blue light, the kind that felt cold and far away, like the glow from a frozen star. Machines hummed quietly in the background, their tones steady and watchful. Inside the center of the chamber lay a human man, his body resting on a bed made of strange alien metal. His chest rose and fell slowly, as if time itself had forgotten him. He had no idea how long he had been here, trapped between sleep and silence. The door slid open with a faint hiss. A figure stepped inside, moving with quiet care. She was tall, with skin the color of deep ocean water. Her eyes glowed faintly, bright blue circles that reflected every small spark of light in the room. Her short white hair framed her face, and the markings etched on her forehead pulsed gently, showing her unease. She was an alien supervisor, one of the keepers assigned to guard the sleepers. And this one, the human before her, had been the hardest case. She leaned close, her voice soft but urgent. "Wake up, human. You have slept for 20 years. Her words carried worry, but also something heavier, something unspoken. His eyelids fluttered. For the first time in decades, his eyes opened. They were not clear at first. He blinked, trying to focus, seeing nothing but blurred blue light. His throat felt dry, his chest heavy, as if he had been drowning in dreams. Finally, his gaze fixed on her face. He did not know who she was, or why she looked at him with such strange sorrow. 20 years? His voice cracked. The words sounded foreign in his own ears. He tried to lift his hand, but the muscles betrayed him. His arm trembled, then dropped back onto the bed. "What do you mean? 20 years? The supervisor hesitated. She should have told him gently, step by step, but there was no time left for slow truths. The world outside had changed. The war that had started before his coma had ended long ago, but its fire had burned across stars, reshaping everything he once knew. She finally spoke, her words edged with urgency. "You were injured during the first strikes. They saved your life by placing you in stasis, but the systems failed. You were never supposed to be asleep this long." His breath grew uneven. Memories came back in fragments. Fire in the sky, alarms screaming, a ship breaking apart, and then darkness swallowing him whole. He remembered reaching for someone's hand, maybe a friend, maybe a soldier under his command. He remembered pain, then nothing. Why? Why didn't anyone wake me sooner? His voice was soft, filled with disbelief. The alien looked away for a moment, her jaw tightening. Her fingers touched the glowing controls near his bed. "Because there was no one left to wake you. After the war reached its peak, humans. Most of them were lost. The survivors were scattered across sectors, hidden, enslaved, or worse. Your stasis chamber was buried under ruins. We found you only by chance." Her words hit him like a blow. He forced himself to sit up, though his body felt weak, his bones heavy. "You're saying..." "My people," she cut him off quickly. "Do not push yourself. The truth will hurt more than your body can take right now." Her eyes softened as she looked at him. "But know this, the galaxy is not the same. You were gone for 20 years, and in that time, enemies became rulers, friends became ashes, and the name human is not spoken with hope anymore. It is spoken with fear, with anger, with distrust." Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. His heart pounded. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, to know if anyone he loved was alive, but his voice betrayed him. He could only whisper one word, one question. "Why me? Why did you care?" The alien supervisor lowered her gaze. For a moment, she looked almost human, her face carrying something deeper than duty. "Because you are not just a human," she said softly. "You are one of the last soldiers of the war. You carry memories no one else does, and..." She paused, her voice quiet. "Because we owe you a debt. Without humans, many of our colonies would have burned completely. Even now, I do not know if saving you was an act of mercy, or the start of another storm." His body shook. He could feel the weight of her words pressing on him. The war he remembered was gone, replaced by ruins he had not seen yet. 20 years lost. 20 years stolen. And now, this alien woman stood before him, telling him that the galaxy itself was holding its breath, waiting for him to open his eyes. The machines beeped steadily, unaware of the storm rising inside him. His eyes burned as he stared at the ceiling, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Then tell me, what do I have left to wake up for?" Her hand hovered near his, hesitant, as if unsure whether to touch him. Her voice was steady, though her heart was not. "Everything, human. You have everything to wake for. But first, you must survive what comes next." The human sat on the edge of the strange metal bed, his legs weak, his balance unsteady. Every breath felt like a battle, as if his body was arguing with the very idea of being alive again. The alien supervisor stood close, her eyes watching him carefully. She could see how much his body struggled, but more than that, she could see how his mind fought to understand the truth. He finally asked the question that burned inside him. What happened to Earth? The supervisor did not answer at once. Her lips pressed together, her glowing eyes dimmed for a second. It was the question she feared most. Still, she owed him the truth. "Earth is not what you remember," she said softly. "It became the center of the war. Everyone wanted it. Everyone fought over it. In the end..." She stopped herself, her throat tightening. "It is gone." The word crushed him. His chest tightened as if all the air had been stolen away. "Gone." His voice cracked. She nodded slowly. "The surface was burned. Whole oceans boiled away. What is left is ash and shadows. Some say a few humans escaped before the final strike, but no one knows where they are now. For most of the galaxy, Earth is nothing but a grave." He dropped his face into his hands, the reality heavier than anything he had imagined. 20 years gone, and the only home he ever knew had been erased. His eyes burned, but no tears came. He was too dry, too empty. The alien reached toward him, her hand hovering just above his shoulder before she pulled it back. "I am sorry, human. I should not have told you so soon, but lies would break you later." He swallowed hard, his throat rough. "If Earth is gone, then why did you wake me? Why not let me sleep forever?" Her voice sharpened. "Because the galaxy is not safe. And because your kind is not truly gone. Scattered humans survive, hidden in the ruins of colonies, hiding on trade ships, even taken as slaves. And there is more. Something stirs in the dark. Old enemies still hunt for humans. They believe your kind is cursed, dangerous. You are not just a survivor, you are a target." His head lifted. "A target? I don't even know who I am anymore." Her gaze hardened, though her tone stayed calm. "You are a soldier, a witness, and perhaps more important than you realize." He clenched his fists, though his body trembled. "If I'm a soldier, then tell me the battlefield. Where are these enemies now?" The supervisor's eyes flickered. She had hoped he would rest, recover, and slowly adjust. But humans were never slow to rise when challenged. "The ones who burned Earth," she said finally, "were called the Varric Dominion. Their fleets sweep across sectors, enslaving or destroying. They hate humans most of all. To them, your survival is an insult." His jaw tightened. Anger, raw and dangerous, stirred inside him. "Then they'll know I'm alive soon enough." The supervisor's expression darkened. "That is what I fear." Already whispers spread. News travels fast in the void. "If they learn of you, they will come." Silence filled the chamber again, broken only by the hum of alien machines. He forced himself to stand. His legs shook, but he remained upright. Every muscle screamed, but his eyes burned with new fire. "You said survivors exist," he said, voice steadier now. "Then I need to find them. If Earth is gone, I'll find the ones still breathing. They'll need someone, maybe. They'll need me." For the first time, the supervisor allowed a faint smile to touch her lips. Not joy, but respect. "Your spirit is unchanged, even after 20 years. That is why we watched over you." He frowned. "We? Who else knows I'm alive?" Her eyes flicked toward the sealed door. For a moment, her markings pulsed brighter. "You are not the only sleeper we found. Others were discovered, but none survived the stasis collapse. You are the only one who woke." His stomach turned cold. The weight of survival pressed heavier. He wasn't just a man who had slept through war, he was now a symbol. One last ember of a people nearly erased. The alien stepped closer, her voice low. "If you truly wish to seek your kind, I will guide you. But understand, human, if you leave this place, the galaxy will know. And once they know, the Varric will never stop hunting you." He looked at her, his chest rising with a deep, heavy breath. "Then let them hunt. I've already lost everything. I won't lose the last of my people too." Her glowing eyes locked with his, and for a moment, something unspoken passed between them. She saw not just weakness and grief, but the raw human fire that had terrified and inspired galaxies. She whispered again, softer this time, but with a trace of hope. "Then wake fully, human. Wake not just from sleep, but into war once more." The door to the chamber hissed open. For the first time in 20 years, the human stepped outside, his legs trembling but his will unshaken. The air smelled strange cleaner, sharper than he remembered. The corridor stretched long and metallic, lit with glowing strips of pale blue light. Strange symbols lined the walls, shifting and glowing as if alive. The alien supervisor walked ahead, her white hair catching the glow as she turned back to watch him. "Careful," she said softly. "Your body is still weak. The gravity here is lighter than Earth's, but even so, you will feel the strain." He steadied himself, forcing each step to be firm. His boots echoed faintly on the alien metal floor. For him, it was not just walking, it was claiming life again. Every movement reminded him that he had been asleep while the galaxy burned. They reached a wide chamber filled with giant glass panels that looked out into space. The view stole his breath. Stars burned bright, scattered across endless darkness. Nebulas glowed in colors too vivid to be real, painting the void with blues, purples, and crimson fire. It was beautiful, yet his heart tightened, for among all those stars, Earth was missing. His hands clenched. "This is what I wake to? A graveyard sky?" The supervisor stood beside him, her gaze calm. "Not a graveyard. A battlefield. One that still breathes. Look closer." He did. In the distance, shadows moved, shapes of enormous ships gliding through the dark. Their hulls were black, jagged, with crimson lights running like veins. They looked more like predators than machines. His stomach dropped. "Are those?" "The Varric Dominion," she said, her voice sharp with warning. "Patrol ships. They search constantly. If they learn you are alive, they will not stop until you are erased." He exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening. "So they already rule here?" "They rule everywhere their claws can reach," she replied. "But not all bow to them. Resistance survives, in secret. And that is where your path may lead." Her words stirred something in him. Resistance, survivors. He looked back at the stars, but this time he did not see only death. He saw sparks hidden among the dark, sparks that could be fanned into fire again. The supervisor gestured, and the walls shifted. A table rose from the floor, glowing with a projection of nearby star systems. One point pulsed red, the symbol of danger. Another glowed faint green. "Here," she said, pointing at the green light. This outpost is rumored to hide human survivors. Smugglers whisper of them. But traveling there will risk everything. The Varric's patrol lines are thick. If they catch you—" He interrupted, his voice steady. "Then they'll know I'm alive." Her eyes narrowed. "Do you truly wish for that? You have just awakened. You can hide. You can live quietly." He turned to her, his gaze hard. "My people didn't live quietly. They fought. They burned. And if even one of them is out there, I have no right to hide." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her glowing eyes softened. "Your kind never changes. Even after 20 years, you burn like fire. Perhaps that is why the galaxy fears you." His lips curled into something close to a smile, though it was more bitter than joyful. "Then let them fear." Before she could respond, alarms blared. The corridor outside flashed with red light. A mechanical voice rang through the ship in her language, urgent and fast. She snapped her head toward the door, her expression tense. "What is it?" he demanded. Her markings glowed brighter, pulsing with alarm. "The Varric, a scout ship has found us. They are closing in." His heart pounded. He looked out at the black ships moving closer, their crimson lights burning like predator eyes. The storm he feared had already come. "Then I guess hiding isn't an option anymore," he said. His voice grim but steady. The supervisor glanced at him. And for the first time, her worry mixed with something else, respect. "No, it seems the galaxy wants you to wake fully human." The ship trembled as the enemy closed in. He steadied himself, ready for the fight he had not chosen, but could no longer refuse. 20 years stolen, but now, every second counted. The ship shook as the alarms screamed louder. The human braced himself against the wall, his body still weak from decades of sleep, but his mind sharp and alive with tension. The alien supervisor's hands moved quickly over glowing symbols on the wall, her markings pulsing with urgency. "They've locked onto us," she said, her voice tight. "Varric boarding craft smaller than warships, but enough to tear us apart inside." His chest tightened. "How many?" "Too many for you alone," she replied quickly. "You're not ready for this. You can't even stand without trembling." He ignored her warning. His fists clenched, his body trembling not just from weakness but from anger. "I won't sleep through another fight. Tell me where to stand." The supervisor turned toward him, her glowing eyes narrowing. For a moment, she looked like she wanted to order him back into his chamber, to force him to hide. But instead, she studied his face, the fire in his expression, the iron in his words. Finally, she nodded. "Then follow me. And do not falter." They moved quickly through the corridor, the hum of engines replaced by the pounding of alarms. At the end of the hall, the walls slid open to reveal a weapons chamber. Racks of alien rifles, blades that shimmered with blue energy, and heavy armor lined the walls. The human reached for one of the rifles, its surface glowing faintly under his hand. It felt strange, too light compared to the old Earth weapons he remembered. He pulled it up, testing its weight. "How does it fire?" The supervisor gave a quick motion of her hand, showing the trigger and the glowing symbol etched along the side. "Aim true. It will follow your intent once it recognizes you." He gritted his teeth. "Then it better learn fast." The ship jolted violently as the Varric craft latched onto the hull. The sound of metal grinding echoed through the corridors, followed by the deep thud of boarding clamps. The human's heart pounded. He hadn't fought in decades, but the rhythm of battle came back like an old song. The corridor lights flickered. Then shadows appeared, Varric soldiers pouring through the breach. They were tall and jagged, their armor black with crimson streaks, their eyes glowing with animal hunger. Their weapons pulsed like living things, hissing with energy. The supervisor raised her rifle, her movements smooth and deadly. She fired first, a blast of blue energy cutting through one of the Varric's chest. The others roared, their alien voices echoing like metal grinding on stone. The human raised his rifle, his hands shaking at first. He took a breath, aimed, and fired. The weapon kicked lightly, the shot slamming into a Varroc's shoulder. It staggered, snarling. Before another blast from the supervisor finished it, his muscles remembered what his mind feared he had forgotten. Duck, aim, fire. Move with purpose. His body screamed with exhaustion, but the fire inside pushed him forward. The Varroc pressed hard, forcing them back step by step. The human dropped to one knee, firing quick shots into the advancing shadows. He saw one leap forward, claws raised, but his aim found its chest before it landed. The alien crashed to the floor, sliding lifeless across the metallic ground. Another Varroc swung its blade down toward him. His reflexes roared awake. He raised the rifle like a shield, blocking the strike. Sparks burst as the blade cut into the alien metal. He twisted, driving his fist into the Varroc's throat. The strike wasn't clean, but it stunned the creature long enough for the supervisor to fire a precise shot through its skull. She glanced at him, eyes wide for just a moment. "You fight like you never slept." His voice was rough, almost a growl. "Because I already lost 20 years. I won't lose another second." The corridor filled with smoke and the stench of burned flesh. One by one, the Varroc fell. The human's arms ached, his lungs burned. But he kept moving, kept firing, kept killing. He was no longer a man waking from sleep, he was a soldier again. Finally, silence fell. The last Varroc hit the floor with a heavy thud, its weapon clattering beside it. The alarms dimmed, the lights steadied. The human leaned against the wall, his chest heaving, sweat dripping from his face. The supervisor lowered her rifle, her glowing eyes fixed on him. For a long moment, she said nothing, only watching him as if seeing something long thought extinct. At last, she spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "Now I understand why your kind terrified the galaxy." He looked at her, his eyes burning with exhaustion and fury. "Then they'll remember. They'll remember humans aren't finished yet." The ship hummed again, adjusting course as the breach sealed. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. The Varroc had seen them. And once word spread, the galaxy would know the last human soldier was awake. The bodies of the fallen Varroc still smoked on the cold metal floor. The human wiped the sweat from his face, his chest rising and falling heavily. Every muscle screamed with pain, but his eyes were sharp, alive with fire. The alien supervisor moved beside him, scanning the corridor with her glowing gaze. Her markings still pulsed faintly, not with fear, but with calculation. "They will not stop," she said at last. Her voice was quiet, but there was no comfort in it. "The Varroc never forget. They will return with more ships, and worse news of you will spread through their ranks like fire." He stared down at the lifeless forms, their jagged armor still gleaming with crimson light. "Then let it spread," he said firmly. "Let them know a human still breathes." The supervisor's eyes locked on him. She wanted to argue, to tell him the danger was too great. But deep inside, she knew the truth. His words carried weight, a kind of reckless courage she had only ever read about in the reports of the old war. Hours later, they sat in the command chamber. Stars drifted outside the glass walls, silent and indifferent. The ship's systems buzzed, repairing the breach, erasing the traces of battle. But across the galaxy, no machine could erase what had happened. The Varroc survivors had already transmitted fragments before dying scattered signals, racing across the void. In distant spaceports and shadow markets. Whispers began to stir. A trader with scaled skin leaned across a rusted bar counter, his voice hushed but sharp. A human, alive, fought the Varroc and lived. The bartender laughed, shaking his head. Impossible. They've been gone 20 years. Myth, nothing more. The trader's eyes gleamed. Tell yourself that. But the Dominion does not send ships after ghosts. Elsewhere, in a slum buried under neon haze, a group of ragged refugees huddled around a flickering screen. The image was blurry, half-corrupted, but it showed a figure firing an alien rifle, standing against the Varrock with raw defiance. One of the refugees, his hair dark and his eyes hollow, leaned closer. His lips trembled. That's one of us." Hope flickered in eyes that had only known despair. In the war councils of the Varrock Dominion, the news struck like a blade. The High Marshal, his body covered in black armor that seemed grown rather than forged, listened to the report. His crimson eyes narrowed, his voice a low hiss. "A human, awake?" His claws scraped against the steel of his throne. "Find him. Burn every sector until his ashes scatter. The galaxy will not suffer their return." Back on the Supervisor's ship, the human sat quietly, his hand resting on the alien rifle beside him. He could feel the weight of what was happening, even without seeing the whispers spread. He was no longer just a man who had woken from a long sleep. He was becoming something else, a symbol, a memory reborn. The Supervisor broke the silence. "Do you know what you have done?" He looked at her, his face hard but calm. "I survived." Her voice sharpened. "No, you lit a fire. One the Dominion will do anything to smother. And one that others will try to follow." She leaned closer, her glowing eyes searching his face. "Are you ready for that burden, human? To be more than yourself?" He exhaled slowly, staring at the stars outside. "I didn't ask for it. But if my people are out there, waiting, hiding, I won't let the fire die again." The ship's alarms gave a softer chime, not of danger, but of arrival. A small green light pulsed on the star map. The outpost the Supervisor had mentioned earlier drifted into range, hidden in the shadow of a dead moon. She pointed. "This is where the whispers say survivors may live. If you go there, you will know the truth. If humans remain, they will see you. They will follow you. But if the Varrock reach this place first, they will kill everyone." The human's jaw tightened. His pulse quickened, not from fear, but from grim resolve. "Then we make sure I get there first." The Supervisor studied him one last time. Her lips parted as if she wanted to warn him again, to remind him he was still broken, still fragile. But instead, she whispered something different, something closer to belief. "Then perhaps the galaxy has truly awakened with you." The ship drifted through the shadow of the dead moon, its engines whisper quiet. The alien Supervisor stood at the controls, her glowing eyes fixed on the dark horizon. Beside her, the human sat upright, his rifle across his lap. Every second felt heavy, like the entire galaxy was holding its breath. At last, faint lights shimmered in the distance. Hidden inside the moon's crater was a settlement, small, fragile, but alive. Tiny domes clung to the rock, connected by glowing tunnels. The sight made his chest tighten. It was not Earth, not the home he remembered, but it was something more important. It was proof. "They're here," he whispered. His voice cracked with something between hope and sorrow. The Supervisor nodded, though her markings pulsed with caution. "Yes, but be careful, human. Survivors who live this long learn to trust no one. They may not welcome you." He rose, unsteady but determined. "Then I'll remind them what we are." The ship descended, landing on a platform carved from stone. The air outside was thin and metallic, but breathable. As the hatch opened, figures appeared in the distance. They were ragged, their clothes patched, their bodies thinner than they should have been. Weapons shook in their hands, aimed at the new arrivals. A voice called out, hoarse but sharp. "Identify yourselves." The human stepped forward, his boots striking the dusty ground. For a moment, the survivors flinched, ready to fire. Then he raised his voice, firm and clear. "I am human, like you. I've been asleep for 20 years. But I am here now. The silence that followed was unbearable. Then one of the survivors, a woman with hollow cheeks and a scar down her jaw, took a step forward. Her weapon lowered slightly. "You," she whispered, her eyes wide. "You shouldn't exist. We thought none of us were left." He met her gaze, his own voice steady. "We are left. And we are not finished." Whispers spread through the group. Some lowered their weapons. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Finally, the woman dropped her rifle completely, falling to her knees. Tears streaked her dirty face. By the stars. A soldier. A real one. After all this time. Others followed, some kneeling, some standing frozen, as if afraid to believe what they saw. Hope was dangerous, but it burned in their eyes nonetheless. The alien supervisor stepped forward, her glowing presence making the survivors tense. But she lifted her hands, her voice calm. "He is not alone. He is guarded, and he is ready. But you must decide, do you follow him, or do you remain hidden until the Dominion erases you?" The human looked around at their faces. He saw the same fire he once carried in his brothers and sisters long ago. It was faint, buried under years of hunger and fear, but it was there. He raised his rifle high, the weapon glowing faintly in the dark. "Earth is gone," he said, his voice carrying across the crowd. "But humans are not. You can hide forever and die one by one. Or you can stand with me. The galaxy already knows I'm awake. They're afraid. Let's give them a reason to be." The survivors murmured, their voices rising. A boy too young to remember Earth shouted, "We're still human." His voice broke the silence, and suddenly the crowd answered with a roar. It wasn't polished, it wasn't strong, but it was real. The woman with the scar stepped to his side, her head bowed. "Then lead us. We will fight again." The alien supervisor's glowing eyes softened as she watched the scene. She leaned closer to him, her voice low. "You have done it. You've lit the fire. But remember, fire spreads. Once it burns, there is no turning back." He looked at her, his jaw set, his gaze firm. "Then let it burn. The galaxy tried to bury us in silence. Now they'll hear us roar." The survivors stood taller, their weapons no longer trembling. The human raised his rifle once more, and for the first time in 2 decades, he did not feel alone. Above them, the stars stretched endless and cold, but in that moment, humanity was alive again.